Welcome to another episode of Behind the Scenes. This gentleman joining me today is one of the most amazing people I've had the fortune to meet. From his active role in helping spread the education of avoiding catching HIV, through his work with Prep Squad, to his own initiative Take Down Tina, which he created to help eradicate crystal meth in the gay community. With all these things going on, he's also managed to finish college and being a very active career in porn. It gives me great pleasure to have Jacen Zhu join me today as my guest. Welcome.
Hey guys, this is Jacen Zhu.
Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you agreed to join us today.
Yes.
Yes. How are you, by the way?
I'm doing great. Just woke up in sunny San Diego.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to not admit I'm jealous. Not going to at all, because it might be nicer today, but we've already had 5 rainstorms this morning. So, yes, I'm seriously not even going to try and not say I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, let's just jump right in. Because we want to get to know you a whole lot better. So we're going to start with way back. We're going to go way back. So tell me about what Jacen was like growing up. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
West Side. What? West Side. I grew up in West Baltimore. As a kid, I was kind of like, not really outspoken, but like I was always like the center of attention in some sort of way. I was super religious. I was a good kid. I was very, I had my ways. I used to get my brothers and sisters in trouble a lot and act like it wasn't me. Yeah. So as a kid, I was definitely like, I was a good time. I was a good kid. Yeah.
Middle, youngest, oldest?
I am the oldest, but my dad got married, and so there is my one sister. She is older than me.
Okay. Okay, that's an unusual behavior for an oldest child, because I am one and I don't remember being the instigator. I was always the
Yeah,
one that got in trouble for everything, but I wasn't the instigator. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
people would find that hard to believe about me, but
Uh-huh.
I was not the
Yeah.
instigator.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't mean I didn't participate, but
Uh-huh.
my younger sister was usually the brains behind the stupidity. So
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I definitely like, I would do things like we would do it as a group effort. But yeah, definitely, like, yeah, it would definitely be me, like chopping off my sister's hair because I was so obsessed with giving them like shortcuts. And so, like, in order to like stiff their hair, I would put them in the freezer. And
So are you a closet hairdresser then?
right, yeah, no, it's crazy. And my mom would like find them in the freezer, and like she would be so pissed. Uh, but yeah, and I would just blame it like, oh, it wasn't me. It was like,
You would hide their ponytails in the freezer?
No, I would. So what I would do is that I would cut the doll's hair really short.
Oh,
And so I wanted to give
okay.
him a shortcut, but I didn't have any spritz because in my household we don't use spritz, of course, because we don't have that type of hair that needs spritz.
Okay.
So I would wet the hair and then put it in the freezer, and so then it would like stay up.
You
Yeah,
froze
and
their
so it's
hair.
like a little shortcut, like
You froze their hair. I see.
yeah,
Okay. I get it now. Thanks.
yeah,
I needed some clarity on that one, because it
oh
was
yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Remind me not to have you do my hair. Okay.
Yeah, no, no, no,
Never.
absolutely. No, I'm terrible. I'm
Okay.
terrible.
So this closet hairdresser never amounted to anything, and that's probably for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah. I could do some things, but like, I can do things that pertain to like natural hairstyles and like my hair and stuff like that. Like, I can do those type of things, but anything chemicals or complex, nope, sign me out.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
So high school, and coming out and being aware of who you were and all that. How did that all transpire?
You know what? That was actually kind of a fun ride because in middle school, I was like kind of considering it, going into high school. Uh, and I was like, I don't know, because of course, like, like my family's like really religious, and so like that was just not cool. And I went through like the moments where I was like pretty gay away and all this other stuff, and, like super in church. And like even still, once I went to high school, I was still really into church. But uh, I decided at what was it, my 14, I think I was, so ninth grade. I decided to like come out, and I was grateful that because I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, like these high school girls are gonna be like interested in me, and like where it's just gonna be a thing, and I don't want it to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna just be out. And I was out in school, and I'm glad I did because one of my good friends back then, she was like, oh, I was just gonna ask you out and everything like that, and I was like, whoo, gosh, definitely. Yeah, so. But yeah, so I was out in high school for sure, like ninth and 10th grade. I think my mom knew, so I told my mom first for sure, and like she was cool with it because my uncle, who is her older brother, who was the oldest of their set, he was gay and died a month before I was born in '88. Of course, from he moved to New York and contracted HIV, which later turned into AIDS. Um, and so she was okay with it or whatever. My dad actually found out from someone at my high school, called me, was like, I know you're gay, and like didn't even give me a chance to like talk because if he did, I was just gonna just be like, no, that's not real. They're like, but yeah, and so he was like, I love you, you're still my son, and everything like that, and like so we have like a dope relationship, my dad and I. And my grandmother, she was the her hurdle for sure. It took her a little bit, God rest her soul, to really like get through it because she had just went through it with her son,
Right.
and she didn't handle that all that well. And now to deal with it in her grandson, it was like she kind of made up a little bit, but in the beginning, I mean, I remember she would come in my room and anoint my feet with oil because we would get into an argument and pray to get
She's gonna
away.
pray it away no matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah,
Okay.
it was super interesting growing up like that. Like, yeah.
Well, at least in a roundabout way, she was trying to do it in a love way. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
like you got sent to one of those camps,
Yeah,
which are
yeah, no,
horrific. But
yeah, yeah, no, 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 yeah, no. I'm glad for that one. I mean, good. As bad as that is, also being called up to the altar like all the time, like it's kind of annoying.
I bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
but yeah, no, I totally, yeah, I'm grateful that they didn't send me up to some place like that. That's weird. It's
Well,
super weird.
let's keep our fingers crossed that it's someday, maybe not in my lifetime, that this will not be an issue anymore and that
Yeah,
it won't even be required to go to that extreme and to have a
yeah,
child have to go through something that traumatic just to be who they are. So
yeah,
I pray for that day.
yeah,
So I'm hopeful that it's on its way in spite
yeah.
of some of the world events going on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So who was your biggest crush while growing up?
Wow, that's gonna take me goodness. I'm trying to remember who was I into. My gosh, oof, that's like it's so much has happened since the youth. I'm like, that's legit. I mean, I know I was really like, of course, like into people like Usher, because I grew up on that type of music. Craig Davis. Oh my gosh, John B was amazing. Oh, he was so beautiful. Um, yeah, that's all I can really think. Yeah, that's so strange. I don't. Yeah, that's about it, really. Yeah, I didn't really have. I don't really remember
One
having like
specific
any.
person?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I was really obsessed with like pop like people and like Madonna and like those type of like I was always I guess more into the women artistry because like I just thought it was just so great and like I was just really into that and I didn't really the guys were just like anybody I just thought was attractive. If it was like Instagram was on your notebook, I
Hmm.
had all the hot guys on my notebook.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
That's good. That works. So, you decided to get into porn. What was the deciding factor? Where was your head? How did you work this into your head that this was where you wanted to go? What direction that you wanted to take your career? Because it is a career,
Yeah.
and what was your deciding factors? What were the decisions that led up to you deciding to get into porn?
To be honest, I was old enough. I had thought about it for a while. I think I created like a list of like things like, oh my God, if I ever get an opportunity to do that, I'm just gonna do it. But like, let's think about it first. And so I did, and like I didn't like jump on it initially, but like once I was like old enough and really secure within myself somewhat, and not having to like be conscious of like what my parents might think type of thing because I'm a whole adult now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I just did it, and I didn't do it like, oh my gosh, I'm going into this, to make like big bucks and to be a star. I just did it like on a whim because I was already working. I still work in this field. I work with adults with intellectual disabilities, so I was fine. I was just like, all right, let's just spruce up the life a little bit and try it. I mean, you, you
So
know,
what drew you to it? What was it about doing porn that attracted you? What
I think
about it?
I think it was more so like the freedom. Like it was just like, okay, like let's just have fun and and also I mean now like once I really got into porn, like what I find more interesting is I guess the idea that someone is going to watch this and enjoy it for their uh, their pleasure, and that kind of like amps me up. It's almost like performing art. Like it's like okay, let's get out here, let's perform, let's do this, and like let's make this the most organic, you know, thing happen on this right now and enjoy it and just have fun. And so that's how it was, honestly, and that's how it is, and it can be most of the time. Yeah,
It is an art form. I mean, I
yeah.
know that it still has a ton of stigma to it, but it is an art form.
Yeah. No, and it's work. Like people have no idea like you're not on set and be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna bang it out a few times and go about our business. Like you gotta block your whole day out because you're gonna be there for a very long time. Even
Well,
short shoots are long.
well, they're stopping and starting. You have a room full of people. You know, the scene isn't just to keep going. You guys stop and you have to change and you have to do
Hmm.
positions and you have all
Hmm.
these things that are going on behind the scenes. And
And it's
most
a
people don't
continuous
understand that, and
conversation.
I guess they romanticize it. I
Hmm.
guess that would be the easiest way to term it as being this, yeah, as you said, let's just bang it out and
Hmm.
then we're going to publish it.
Yeah.
So I guess for amateur that would probably be true,
Oh yeah, and
but
even with some like all sex companies, they do bang it out, but like a lot of people don't understand is that within that banging it out, it's a lot of conversation. Like we're continuously communicating, trying to figure out, how can we, amp it up, change it up, do something to like kind of like sell this package here. So even when people say all sex is like, yeah, they're having all sex, but they're talking about what's gonna happen.
there has to be consent too.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell me about your first day on set, your first film. How did that go?
That was nerve wracking, and it was. I remember it was the middle of summer and I was in New York City. And that was an experience because it was my first scene. And some companies that I work with, you only have like, one or two people. Like this was like a whole production on top of like having like models there too. So like it's like everyone's there and you're in this like, loft, and it's just, hot as hell because you can't have the AC on while you're filming because you don't want to hear the noise in the background. Yeah, I know.
Among other
Like,
things.
yeah, like people, like, so when you see those models sweating, like they're not sweating, like no one spritzed water on them, like no, they're legit like outline because it's hot as balls in this room to create this because you can't have any air on because you don't want to hear sound. And it was great. I mean, they wanted me to do a lot more dialogue, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to have like done church plays prior. So like it wasn't like, oh my God, and like in school, like at that time I was a communications major. And so like I was always doing like, public speaking and things like that. So I was perfectly fine with the dialogue. Uh, but my co-star was actually from Russia, so he spoke a little English. So it was kind of
Stilted?
it was just kind of, yeah, and just difficult to kind of like convey things to him. But like I mean, after a while you're able to maneuver. Uh, but the scene was, I mean, for me it was great because I guess I was just a natural. But for him, I remember they kept on having to like tell him like, do it like this, do this, do this, do like that, and it was just a mess to the point where they actually booked me for another shoot the next day with one of their exclusive models, and we banged that scene out, and it was great. And then they just kept on asking me to do shoots, and I was just like, oh wow, okay, cool. This is not like a one-time thing. All right, let's just see where this goes.
Very cool. So how did you come up with your porn name?
So I originally wanted like something because I mean, if you do like, some people know like I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, so I wanted something close. I know I was so
I do.
determined. I was so determined to get something close to Doctor Who, and like my last name was going to be Who so bad, but I was like, you know what, we can't do that. And I wanted to keep J because my real name starts with a J, and you know, and also it was like a nod to my dad a little bit. It was like, all right, hey, I'm still keeping the J name.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find anything that really went with Who. And so at the time I was listening to who was my favorite dance artist, which is you. And I really loved his music and it was really great. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, let me do like Zhu, but instead of like, because I knew everyone was going to have a problem with it. So I was like, I'm just going to call it Zhu. And
Mm-hmm.
so that way it's easier for people to like remember and, and be able to digest or whatever. Come find out that was still complicated for people, but I don't mind like saying, hey, it's Zhu. Uh, and so Jason, I was just like, well, I don't like. I went through all the J's names, like you do like a baby list, and I was like,
Right.
J's name. I was like, I don't really like any of these, and so I was like, well, I like Jason, but I don't like it the way it's spelled. So I was like, well, we're gonna go with this way of spelling. And the studio that I had did my first scene with, they had wanted me to switch, and so they had told me to ask their marketing guy, like, hey, is this okay or whatever, or come up with a better name, and blah, blah, blah. And the marketing guy was like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. I think it's cool. And I was like, yeah. And so when I finally like sat down, I was like, oh my God, Dr. Zhu. And I was like, oh, that's so close to Dr. Who. I know, right? Crazy. So that's how I came up with it. And when I researched it, Zhu was actually one of the popular names in Asia, well, China to be clear. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is great because as a kid, like I grew up watching martial arts movies with my dad, and I still watch them. And a lot of people know I watch Japanese anime, sometimes Chinese anime, but Japanese anime is way better. Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, this is great. Like this is the name, and so that's how it came about. I'm super cerebral when I think of these type of things. That's why it's so hard to explain.
No, that makes sense to me. But I love that you did bring in the Doctor Who reference. And yes, I am very aware of your love for all things Doctor Who. So it makes total sense to me. Total sense.
Yeah.
So, do your friends and family know about your career in porn? And if so, how did they react to it?
Yeah, my friends know. Now my friends tell me, so like my friends are so freaking hilarious. So I agree. They either want to sell my toothbrush, they want to sell my underwear. I know, it's crazy. I'm like, dude, you're not selling my shit. Like, I'm not doing it. He's like, you make so much money. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're not selling my shit. But, and my parents, they know. My dad was like, kind of like freaked out a little bit because, of course, they're still in God's good graces. And so he was freaked out a little bit because I had him read article that I did with the Hornet. And so at the top it said adult film star Jacen Zhu. He was like, "Oh Lord, I'm taken back by the title." I was like,
Go, Dad.
I was like, keep reading, it gets better. And so, you know, like they are aware that I do the porn, but like even like people in porn, like they honestly don't even like some of them don't see me as a porn actor, they see me more as an activist. Which I don't mind. I think it's cool. And so that's what my parents more so see it as is like I'm just still like doing activism.
So you're an activist that does porn.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
both titles are totally okay with me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Totally okay with me. So let's go into that then. What do you consider? Well, we'll start with one thing first. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about the porn industry?
I think that like I think one misconception is like people think just because like you're you know having sex or doing sexual acts on camera for like the masses is that like you forfeit your right to be a human. Uh, and I think that's just silly. Like it's like okay, like yes, I do this act, you know, but you go to work too, and I don't sit there and be like, oh yeah, you're not a human anymore, you know. Like I don't try to discredit things that you say. And it's like you can really see it when like you know people try to kind of like solve the intelligence of someone who might do porn or you know think that they're you know better than them because this person does porn, but like you're the person who actually watches the porn. And so it's like you know it's like this cognitive dissonance that they kind of have, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so that and I guess that we're all like just having sex all the time. I guess. Yeah, I don't really see that. I mean, yeah, you see people with their own fans and stuff like that, but I don't think for like the majority, everyone's like banging it out all the time.
That's the one misconception about social media is you see glimpses of what people share.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they're going to share most all the good things that are going on there in their life, but it's not every moment of their day, of
Mm-hmm.
their year, of their month, whatever. So you're
Yeah.
just getting a brief glimpse into maybe a moment in their day of something exciting and fun that they're doing. So yeah, it makes total sense that this is not a 24/7 lifestyle. I'm sure there are some out there that do that, and that's
Oh, yeah,
okay. That's
absolutely.
if that's
And that's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
if that's their thing, go for it. Even if you're not in porn, if that's your thing, go for it. I'm totally agree. Free love, free sex, whatever, as long as it's consensual.
Yeah.
So, what about as a black man in the industry? What separates you in that respect for
Yeah,
that?
you know, it is a interesting field to navigate, to be honest, because I am someone who does pretty much all spectrums of porn, and so I don't know, it's just very, I guess, insulting when people say like mainstream porn, and by mainstream porn they mean like primarily porn that shoots white people. And I think that's just insulting because it's like it's all porn. Like it's like the only thing that I see that possibly could separate is you know sexual preference. You know, like straight or gay, bi, queer, whatever you identify as. It's like that's what you're into. But like to be like oh because you know this isn't. It's done professionally, but the cast is you know all people of color, and to like oh that's urban, you know that's just stupid. Like it's porn. Like it's don't be silly and separate it like that. But and then it's just like a lot of people they don't like. I guess they don't like really like listen. Like they hear you, but they don't listen to like what you're saying and try to like you know understand where you're coming from. And then I think a lot of people just think they're like you're possibly like overreacting, and it's like no, we're not overreacting. It's like this is a reality, and this is what's going on. And no one like wants to talk about it. Like it's just like okay, whatever, like you know. And so uh, I will say to be a black man in this industry is interesting, but to be a black man and self-aware of yourself is dangerous. especially in this industry. Because sometimes people just don't want to deal with that. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to change what they already had planned in their mind to make it not problematic. You know, like it's like, oh, why can't you just do this thing? And I'm like, no, we can't do that. Like it's like, no.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So tell me about your activism. Talk to me, your activists, and all the things that you're doing and all the projects that you've taken on. I know most of them are very personal to you. Yes, you are the Superman of all of these projects that you do. So yeah, tell me what brought you to that area. What empowered you to take on some of these very big, very needed projects that you spearhead and are a part of?
Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of things that I do overall is uh, wellness, and that is dealing with uh, uh, sexual, mental health, also dealing with uh, recovery and drugs and alcohol and things like that. And just being like black and queer and just like not making excuses for being that and like really owning like that space and being comfortable in that space. And so I've partnered up with Prep Squad DC, which although I live in San Diego, I still work with those guys because they're really awesome people and it's a community organization for prep. I was deemed their undetectable man, which is awesome. I love those little cartoons so much.
They are so cute.
And it's you know it's just a message to get out to the community about PrEP and also for people who are HIV positive to seek treatment and things like that. And they've also encompassed mental health issues, and they do all aspects of health and sexual health as well. So I work with them also personally for me with my initiative with Take Down Tina, which is to spread the awareness of meth use within queer and trans people of color. And that is going great. I just got a project manager and like we're working on some things for the future with some media organizations. Since I've gotten into San Diego, I've been working with Soul Cow Club in LA. They're a great organization for people of color on all aspects of anything that you possibly need. You can just go into this organization and they could point you in the right direction. And they're really good people there, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, that's pretty much me. And I talk about I just honestly just share where I'm at and what like I'm going through in this moment. And for some reason, it just connects with people. Like honestly, like a lot of times when I'm posting, I'm talking to myself. I'm really talking to myself. Like
I know, but I like your posts. Actually, literally, I do like your posts. But yeah. I know sometimes they come across as random, but some of them are just like, oh, wow, that's a great realization, or, you know, that's wonderful. So, yeah, I would highly encourage people to come along and read your posts because they are very well written. They're very enlightening. Yes, they might be a personal, point of view, but, you might be surprised how many other people share the same view.
No, I'm always surprised when people say that. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't really think, I was just really talking about myself, but wow, that's cool. Like, yeah, so I mean, it is impactful, and like to hear like people reach out to me and stuff. So it's really, it's dope. I like it. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I love your little rants. Plus, it gets me a reason to come on and just, give you a little hug emoji and go back to my, whatever. So, hey, I'm all for the hugging. So.
All right, hold on right quick. I'm going to grab my charger.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
I will cut all that part out.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Next question. We'll just start again. What's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you since you've been in this industry? Fan related, personal related?
I think I think it was just this one time. Like, 'cause usually fans for me are like they're either really nervous to talk to me or like I think a lot of people have like this misconception of me like really mean and it's like, ooh, no, I'm not. Like it's really funny when I think that. I think it's hilarious. People that know me thinks it's hilarious. I mean, I can be like kind of standoffish a little bit because I am a very isolated person, but I do enjoy like the comfort of other people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone was to come up to me, I wouldn't be like that unless I'm having like a major like oh meltdown type of day. But for the most part, no. And so I had a guy in the bar, and this was like when I first like originally like first started my career. I don't even think I think I had might have just signed with like Hockey Boys, and the kid came up to me and he was like, "Jason, you a top or a bottom?" And I was like, "Oh, kid, come on." I was like, "Really?" And so I was like, "Hi, I'm a human."
Good Lord.
Okay, shout
Probably
out
didn't
to
mean anything by it, but I can understand. Yeah.
yeah. And so I was like, I'm a human. And so old friend of mine, he was like, hey, he told you or whatever. Um, and he was like, well, I'm not talking to you or whatever. And then he was like, because my friend wanted to know if you are a top or a bottom or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, so you came all the way over here. This isn't for you. You asked me a question that I don't want to answer. And then you're getting like rude to someone who's telling you, hey, I don't want to continue this conversation. I've given you my answer. Let's move on. So that was definitely like the weirdest thing, and also like that was when I would drink too. So at that moment, he had me in the right state of mind because I just remember being like my friends were like, you were sitting on a cop car waiting for this kid to come out of the bar so you can like beat him up. I was like, really? They were like, yeah. Like you were like, we had to like get you off of the cop car. I was like, man, drinking is not in the works. But yeah, so that was probably about the weirdest thing. And after that, I think I just handle everything completely different. Like I just be like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. So what would you give your younger self advice about now that you wish you'd known then? I mean, you've been through a lot. You've come a long way. You've moved forward. I mean, you're a college graduate, which is
No, surprise.
awesome. I mean, I think you're amazing. So what advice, if you could go back and give your younger self anything, what would you tell yourself? What would you,
I would probably like, I mean, it would be a few things, but I would definitely say like, just keep being weird and like, don't like, because I felt like a lot of like, I was pressured and I did like, go with the norms of like what other people thought were appropriate with me and like kind of like, uh, being other people and not myself, but just continue being weird and just keep loving art, I guess. Like keep on like, investing in that like that space because uh that would have been really great. Like that would have been really awesome. I mean, granted I'm still in a sense creating art now, but and also I would just say stop like, trying to cut yourself and take pills and stuff if that's too much, like super dramatic. So yeah, that was definitely it. Yeah.
so what are you most proud of?
I think the fact that I did, like, I mean, like, granted, this is just an associate's and I'm going to finish my bachelor's, but I'm actually, like, proud that I did that because, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to do it. And, like, when I was, like, really, like, heavy into, like, like, doing, like, meth, like, every day, like, I was not, and, like, when I was, like, going through, like, mental breakdowns and stuff, like, I just did not think that it was just gonna happen. Like I thought, like it was just just over. And so to be able to do that was like, okay. I mean, like, it's sometimes I don't really feel it, but uh, it is great to be like, okay, I did do it.
You did. You
Yeah.
did. You didn't hear me screaming and cheering all the way over here on the
Right.
Northwest.
Right.
I was just, yay, yeah. So tell me, what's your favorite part of your career? What do you like the most about what your career does for you? What is it that keeps you going, keeps you motivated, keeps you excited?
I'll be honest, the people that I like speak with, like, I mean, like, although like sometimes like I have to take a moment because it can be overwhelming, but just hearing people's stories and like how they connect with my story, or even if they just like are saying, like, I mean, like sometimes you gotta filter through what you can consider as like someone replying to you. It's like hot, yo, you're hot. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be like, oh thank you every time. You know, like it's like, that's cool and I appreciate it, and but I have to be mindful of like, okay, who to reply to and when and how to reply to them, because you don't want to like give off any falsehoods to anyone. But for the overall, I do enjoy the communication I get with the fans. Yeah, I think it's really great. I think just on people, like fans, that's so weird. Just the people, honestly. Yeah, that I get to connect with. Yeah, that's the best part.
So when you're not doing all the amazing, wonderful things that you do every day, what do you do in your downtime? What do you spend your time doing? How do you relax?
Wait for it. It's coming. Oh no!
Let me guess. It's your anime?
Yep, I'm watching anime. And typically, like when I go to the gym, now I live in San Diego. I'm pretty much at like the beach a lot. I like going. I like hiking now, which is interesting. I didn't before, uh, but I love it now. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm not like I'm at work. I have a day job, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's all right. So
Yeah.
just TV watching, and how about music? What do you like to listen to?
So I like to listen to a lot of different musics. Typically, my rule of thumb, and it's not to like, uh, yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. I typically look for any black artists, and that's how I like make it. Or first it's black artists and people of color. Um, but typically I stay in like R&B, like neo soul, um, jazz type, like easy listen, like vibe. I do like some dance music and stuff like that. It's just my mind just has to be in space for it because I'm just that's just not like for me naturally. I'm always in a state of like what, so like you add like or
You don't want to throw music in the middle of all that?
yeah, no, you need something that's just like kind of like level you out a little bit. So so I definitely R&B, neo soul, jazz. Um, those are typically like my go-to. Anything that's like a songwriter, singer-songwriter, that's great too. Yeah, I like world music too, like funky beats. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. So would you consider yourself a big reader? Do you read a lot?
No, oh my goodness,
I was gonna say.
Nicholas got me this Doctor Who book, and it was fantastic, in the beginning. But like, I'm like one of those readers, like I only read when I'm traveling.
Okay, that's all
Yeah.
right. But when you are, what's your go-to genre? What do you like to read when you're in that state of mind?
It's typically like something that is thought provoking. Like I'm in between, what is it, Sirahara and oh goodness, Invisible Man. So yeah, I'm flipping back and forth between those two. Siddhartha, yeah, Siddhartha, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most interesting thing about you?
My mind. Yeah, I guess I don't know, maybe my personality. If once you get to see it, then you're like, oh wow, this kid's crazy. uh, but no, yeah, I think really that's probably yeah. I mean, people like my looks and everything like that, but like what I try to explain to people is like growing up as a kid, like this was not like this. Like not even like in high school was like this. Like I mean, high school was kind of like this, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I understand how it's to be like the oh you're a cute kid, you know, like that and everything like that, or like you know people just don't really pay attention to you that much. Uh, so when people like say like my looks and everything, I'm like oh okay yeah, and like yeah that's cool, you know that's great. But it doesn't really like you know strike a chord with me. Uh, it's probably like you know my personality or my intelligence or I guess just who I am as a person. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. This was about you, so that's what I wanted to hear. See? So, what is the most interesting unknown skill that you have that maybe somebody wouldn't know about you?
No, because people know that. Yeah. So, I mean, probably they probably don't know that I could change brakes on a car. That's about it.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think people know I can do that. I mean, because I don't act like I'm a car person. Though. I'm really not. Like, it's not. I'm not. It's just something I ended up learning because I changed my own brakes. Well, that time I changed my brakes. Now I'm just too lazy. I'm like, I don't know if the weather's nice.
Dan in San Diego, you don't really have that excuse
I
anymore.
know. I know.
I know.
Although when I had to get my brakes changed this last time because I don't know how to do the rotors yet, so I was like, oh, I'm taking it to them. That was my excuse. I was like, I'm taking it to them. It's the rotor too. And
Oh,
sure enough, it was. The back of my brake had actually locked up. So
yeah, it would have cut a groove in the rotor. There's nothing you could have done about that anyway.
yeah, I know. But you know, I didn't feel like YouTube and all of that.
Well, unless you have a lathe, you wouldn't have been able to do it from home unless you do have one. But
Yeah.
yeah. So, what makes you smile?
Anything really. I'm typically a smiling person. Like, and I think that's why people think that because like, so people don't like get like the downtime me, and like, so they think like when I'm like really quiet and like just like they're like, oh my god, is something wrong with you? And like people don't understand like that is like my baseline. Like, I was at I did a bar in Arizona for go-go dancing, and uh, the woman of trans experience who also does drag, she said to me, she was like, you're so like zenned out. And I always laugh at that because one, that is my base, but then also people don't understand what it takes to get to that. And so it's always like hilarious to me. Um, but yeah, I totally forgot what I was talking about. But
What
I
makes you
mean the
smile?
question.
But you're
Oh
good.
yeah, what makes me smile? Yeah. So yeah, everything makes me smile pretty much. Like I'm a smiling person.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then what upsets you? What makes you upset? What triggers your I can't believe or, what
Yes. Uh, oof, racism, homophobia, anything but xenophobia, sexism, all of that type of stuff, transphobia, all of those things kind of get underneath my skin. Yeah, a lot. Idiots get on my skin, up my skin a little bit too, but not like the idiots. It's like, oh, I don't really know about it. The idiots that think that they know, and then we're like, oh no, that's actually not a fact. You know, that type of idiot. Um, those get on my nerves. I guess just I don't know. people just not willing to like experience, or at least try to put themselves in the experience of other people and understand, like, okay, you know, maybe I should like rethink or like, you know, like I guess reevaluate how I process things and what I say and things like that. And oh yeah, and if you're rude to people with like any type of like intellectual or developmental disability, like we're probably not talking about like I like yeah, it's bad. Like I do not play with like that is one thing I really don't play with. I think that's freaking disgusting. And lo and behold, we have someone in office that did the same thing and was like whatever. Oh my god, it's so stupid. But yeah, so that's what I don't like.
Well, I agree with you on all that. I totally
Yeah.
do. So between your little cartoons that you do, and of course now that you have your own Superman shirt with attached cape,
Mhm.
which a certain
Mhm.
somebody sent to you
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
she thinks you look really great as Superman. If
Yay.
you had a superpower, what would it be?
I hate this question because
That's why I like asking it.
well, it's because for someone like me, it's like, oh, it's so much. But I would probably, oh, I'm gonna bundle it into any type of anything.
Okay. All right. I can accept that one.
Yeah.
I can accept that one. That's okay. The other day I got asked the same question. I just said I want the same powers as Wonder Woman and a couple others. I didn't even specify a specific talent. I just said this person's talents.
Yeah. Yeah.
I asked the question, so.
Yeah, like in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, disability would be great, but like, I'll probably get over that one real fast. So any type of like dealing with people's minds and like altering that, being able to move stuff, like all of that would be great to me.
Okay. If you could invoke one rule into the world, what would it be? And everybody had to follow it.
For everyone to see everyone as human beings.
Very good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully not dead, but death becomes us all, I guess.
Well, not in 5 years, honey, please.
I know, yeah. I mean, you never know. But
Let's think of a more positive outcome.
no. You see, this is like this. That's the part of me that's super realistic that trips people out sometimes. Like, ooh, shit, why you do that? But yeah. So.
Oh, I'm not freaked out. I just expect you to be around in 5 years because I plan to.
Yeah, no. I don't know, honestly. I mean, hopefully I finish school. Like, I would hope that would be definitely. That's definitely like in 5 years. Yeah, if I'm not done that, what am I doing? Yeah, I should be definitely finish school. But yeah, I don't really know, honestly, and I'm trying not to plan it out as much. I'm just going with it, and I guess seizing opportunities that I feel comfortable with, that that represent me and what I want to say and who I want to communicate with.
Okay.
So yeah.
So if somebody were to write your autobiography, what would it be called?
What a shitty book.
Oh, jeez. Okay. There's some true optimism right there. Wow, makes me want to rush out and read it.
Yeah. People are going to want to know. They're going to be like, oh God, what is this? This has to be interesting.
Maybe it's a satire.
I'm like, dang.
Hmm. That's an interesting title. Okay.
Yeah, it's so funny to me though. I think it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Because then once you read it, you're gonna be like, oh man, that was shitty. That was really crazy. Why did you do that to me? You sent me on a roller coaster.
Well, at least it's
It's a
truthful.
shitty book.
It's a shitty book.
Yeah, you read it.
At least you were being honest.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what advice would you give to someone who is considering a career in porn?
Something that I didn't do research. Because man, oh man, don't do research. Woo!
You learned some stuff, huh?
Eyes wide open. But yeah, no, yeah, I definitely do some research. And I say like, try to talk to someone who's in the business and someone who's not in the business, and but they're close to you, of course. I mean, the person inside the business might or might not be close to you. Uh, to just get like the reality of it, and to really think about, okay, what are you doing next? Because when I got into it, like I didn't have a next. And I try to really tell people, it's like, like really think about it. Okay, what's going to happen next? Because for me, I've already kind of thought about that. I mean, I'm glad I did, like, through the transition part of my career. But a lot of people don't. And so you go back to being like yourself, and you probably will have a social media presence. But once you step into this beast, it's not the same presence once you leave. And so once you have to kind of like know who you are, figure out what you want to do, like after the beast is done, and a lot of people don't think about that, or they have like unrealistic expectations. And I'm going to be honest, like you're probably not going to reach that expectation in this industry the way that you want it. It's not saying that you can't reach it. It's just saying that you're probably not going to reach it the way that you want it. And you got to be mindful of those things and always think. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. So, what would you like to be remembered for?
Someone who really, truly, like, gave a damn about Black models of color, and the community, and just trying to make, like this industry, I guess, like wake up to like recharge it, to really be a place where is very inclusive and accepting, and just it's just an industry where everyone's having a great time. I just feel like for us to be, people who have sex on camera, and people who are queer, like it's like we're a part of the culture, and so I guess I just want us to get back to that point of being a part of the culture and really shaping how things are done, especially with like sexual health, mental health, those type of things. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, is there something you would love to share with your fans?
Yes, I would, but I'm not. So no, I'm just kidding. No,
Oh, come on, we'll beg.
yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I have a few places I'll be at. I mean, I know I just did a scene with Kinkman. I was telling you about that.
Yes.
And I did a scene with Rachel Stallions. I don't know when that's going to come out either. I'm definitely doing some things with Takedown Tina. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Doing some things with Takedown Tina, which is in the works. I'm excited for. And then I am going to be at Black Teen Oasis in May. So that would be great. Receive an award there. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like, I'm living my life. I'm definitely like I'm I'm revamping everything and rechanging and really just shaping it my life the way that I want it to do. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm having fun.
So what would you like to say to your fans?
That you guys are great. I appreciate it. And honestly, like when like sometimes when like I'm probably like sometimes some people like will read like something of mine that I did like a while ago, and like it connects with them like now, and then they send me a message and like and like those type of things make me like remember, and I guess just kind of just put things in a perspective for me. And so I just want to say thank you for that, because that's really dope. A lot of people don't understand like just how a simple message can like really like just put things in perspective for you. So yeah, thank you guys, and I hope that you guys continue to rock with me to the future. Yeah, you guys are sweet and kind. I love it. And can get a nasty and gross and all that stuff. And just check on tits and shit.
That's a true love. That's true love
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
True love. So let's say a new fan wanted to find you. Where would they find you? Where on social media? Where can they track down your stuff, your things, where you're at, who you're at, all those wonderful things about you?
Yeah, so I have it split up. So say for work, you want to go to Facebook. That is Jacen, Jacen Zhu, Zhu, for Facebook. If you want to get a little bit more risque, you go over to Instagram. That's going to be Jason.Zhu. And if you just want to be a whole freak and just let it bust wide open, you go to Jason_Zhu. Because the underscore is for the real freaky people.
And that's on Twitter, right?
And that's on Twitter.
Okay. What about Takedown Tina? Where else can they look for information about that if they're interested
Right
in?
now, we're just on Twitter, and I'm gonna be honest, I have not checked that Twitter in a while because of my move to San Diego, and then also we're revamping things because now I have a project manager.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you could totally like just honestly just you can find me like I am Takedown Tina essentially.
Okay.
Or you can just go on Twitter at Takedown Tina, and that's it. Yeah.
All right. Plus, you'll have some stuff going on with everything else that you do and all your extracurriculars. So that they can also find on like the prep squad. All that can
Yep.
be your.
Yeah, you can find Prep Squad at Prep Squad DC,
Okay.
and that's on Instagram, yeah, and Twitter.
All right. Well, you know what? I have enjoyed this. I know the fans will enjoy this, and I so appreciate you doing this for me. Yes, it's been fun. I even learned some new things, so that's very cool.
Yeah.
Learning is, learning is caring.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I totally knew what you meant, though. I got it. I did. I wasn't going to sit there and correct you. I got it.
That's all right. I would have just looked at you funny anyway. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining the show today.
Absolutely. I'm going to get some food because I'm hungry now.
That's great.
Thanks again for joining the show. Remember, smile and laugh every day. Hug someone you love, be it 2 or 4-legged. And remember, you are special. Thanks again.